Welcome to another Summit Reflections, a series of informative videos keeping you up to date with fertilizers.
So attached to the front of my vehicle is a Trimble GreenSeeker that Summit area managers assist growers in making fertilizer decisions. The GreenSeeker helps take a lot of that guesswork out that is always hard to determine by looking at a crop or such as looking at plant samples. The GreenSeeker offers NDVI technology, which allows us to get a NDVI biomass percentage, which we can then use to make informative decisions for their fertiliser program. Summit Fertiliser area managers, along with their clients, select NPK gauge sites across their farm on variable soil types and variable paddocks. Along with our clients, we look at soil test data and biomass imagery to determine the best spot to put these strips. Nitrogen is the first strip that we lay out, along with phosphorus and potassium that is applied during the summer and while area managers are soil testing for their clients. The nitrogen gauge is one of the most important tools for our clients, as they can then see a visual response by looking down a non-limiting strip of nitrogen. From here, we can then use our GreenSeeker to determine the different percentage between the N gauge and the farmer practice. Using Summit Fertilisers nitrogen calculator, then work out a kilogram of nitrogen difference that should be applied in season. So it's important that the fuel gauge sites are set up in as many different soil types across the farm as possible, as nitrogen applications could be very different right across the farm. The P gauge is also available in the fuel gauge package. The P gauge is applied through the summertime and is monitored throughout the season. The reason for the P gauge being a part of the fuel gauge system is nitrogen may not always be the limiting factor in some soil types, so it's important we have the P gauge on every farm with every fuel gauge, just to make sure that all major nutrients are correct. The K gauge is also introduced into the Summit fuel gauge system, mainly for sandy soils, but being a major nutrient, we also thought it was important to have alongside N and also P. Again, the K gauge is predominantly used for next season decisions, but in a top dressing situation, potassium recommendations can also be offered to Summit clients. The fuel gauge system is just one of many services that Summit Fertilisers do offer, a part of their Summit Q technical services package. Using Summit Fertilisers spatial iPad program, we've looked at biomass imagery of this paddock and determined that this paddock was the most variable across the farm. Using the iPad, we've now entered in information based off the information that we've got from the N gauge and the farmer practice, and put this information into Summit Fertilisers nitrogen recommendation program. Using the GreenSeeker, we've determined that 24 kilograms of nitrogen is short to finish off the season. Our calculator has also notified us that if this nitrogen is not applied, there could be a yield reduction of up to 500 kilos of grain yield.
One thing's for sure, you can be sure of Summit Fertilizers.